How do I label my MIDI? A little complicated in Logic. If you do Command 0, your environment window opens up. And in here, you're able to create what is called a mapped instrument, send it to a monitor, and then send that monitor to your track that has your software instrument on it. And within this mapped instrument is where I have named specific notes to what I need them to be. A center splash choke or a center splash hit, and so on. There's a bunch down here that correlate to my superior drummer MIDI inputs. So my superior drummer has its own MIDI map that I look at and then transfer over to this by typing in each of these one by one. If I needed something on G0, I would just type it in. But how do we get the mapped instrument? I'll show you that real quick. If we were to go up and do a new software instrument track, we're just going to call it my test. We're going to go back to that environment window. Here is that test track that I just created. What we're going to do is go up to new mapped instrument. That will bring this up, and it's already got a bunch of labels on it from inside of Logic. So what I normally do is I hold down one of these keys, I select all, I go to initialize, and I do names as notes. And what that is going to do is going to reset all these input names to just the note names. Now, if I wanted to start naming things, okay, if I knew that B7 was a splash, B7 splash, A7 is a crash, A7 is a crash, G7 is a cowbell, G7 is now a cowbell. There is my map. Close that out. Here's your mapped instrument over here. What I would do is I would drag this down closer to your test. This is the one that I'm actually using for my kit. I'll drag that over here. Here's your mapped instrument for the test track. Now you go to new and you go over to monitor. That's going to create a new monitor, which I'm going to drag over here as well. You can see this mapped instrument has a little, what looks like an output jack. You're going to hold that and drag it over to the monitor. That's connecting the mapped instrument to the monitor. Do you want to remove the channel port setting? Don't remove. Now, you go with your monitor. The other side has a jack again. You're going to drag that and attach that to your track, the test track that we created. Now this mapped instrument and monitor are connected to this track, and the last thing that you have to do is take that mapped instrument icon, drag it over to your main screen over here, and now this is the mapped instrument that you created. If I were to create a MIDI region, if I were to double click on that, open up the piano roll, what did we have here? Splash, crash, cowbell. There they are. So that's how you do it. It's pretty complicated. I usually just keep a template set up with my superior drummer map already set up for stuff like this. Any other questions, just let me know.